on the very powerful presentation from Dr. Maduhu about investing in Tanzania. I will not dwell much on the opportunities, investment opportunities in Tanzania, because they've been very well presented by Dr. Maduhu. But I would really want to actually emphasize on the role of partners, both public and private sector, in creating conducive business environment for investment to take place in our respective countries. There are vast opportunities in Tanzania and in Kenya when it comes to investment. However, there are critical things that needs to be done na nchi zote hizi mbili katika kuhakikisha kwamba we have the right ecosystem, trading ecosystem between the two countries. And even if we didn't want to actually work together or forge, strategic partnerships to create an enabling environment, there are two critical factors that we need to really consider sasa hivi as we think of, enhancing a business environment. One of those factors is population growth. We are told by our researchers that the population in our countries is going to hit 1.4 billion come 2030. And come 2050, the population in East Africa are going to hit 2.5 billion. Therefore, there's going to be increasing demand for food, and of course, youth unemployment is going to increase in our countries. Two, there is the issue of climate change and the impact of climate change in our business arena. And so, ni vitu gani ambavyo tunakutana navyo when it comes to the impact or the effect of climate change in our respective country to do with business? Of course, we are told kwamba climate change inaenda to affect our yields, because when we talk of investment, we have to actually consider backward as well as forward integration. And that is how we talk business environment in a sustainable manner. And so we are told the effect of climate change is going to affect our system, our yields by 50%. We're going to reduce our yield by 50%. That is not enough. We are also going to expect increasing climate refugees in our country. Again, increasing demand for food. So we really need, as countries, to forge strategic partnership to enhance conducive environment for our businesses. One, addressing the technical barriers to trade. That one has been critically mentioned by my colleagues in the previous, before me. So number two, of course, we should facilitate transfer of technologies and knowledge between Tanzania and Kenya. If pesticides, for example, have been registered in Kenya or in Tanzania, if technical data are available, if efficacy data is available in Kenya, why should we repeat the same process in Tanzania? And so I think it is the role of partners, both public and private, to ensure that we are reducing the cost of doing business in our countries by making sure that the technology that is necessary for fostering trade is, of course, available, accessible, as well as affordable for the private sector to survive and thrive in our countries. Of course, too, I want to emphasize on the issue of harmonization of our standards and practices. It is critical now that, we agree to finalize the harmonization of SPS protocol, for example, as that is how we're going to really facilitate, agriculture or agribusiness trade between our countries. And the harmonization or our discussion around standard compliance should not only end at SPS. As a bloc, we should actually go further and think of how, as a team, should we tackle market in different, blocks like EU. We, as Tanzania and Kenya, have been the recipients of standards from Europe and other countries. Why don't we forge partnership that would actually allow us to even have space in the standard formation tables at different levels beyond Africa and even beyond Europe? I think we need really to agree on our working together around compliance to market standards, at different levels. And so what needs to be done? Public-private partnership is critical. And when we talk of PPP, sometimes we actually narrow our perspectives into public-private partnership. And I really want to actually emphasize on the three contexts of PPPs, which is very, very critical to enhance business or smooth business transaction between Tanzania and Kenya. One, of course, public-public partnership. Harmonization between government and within government is very, very critical to allow for, the right business ecosystem in our countries. Secondly, I think we should also consider the public-private. And thirdly, it's private-private. It is high time for private sector to start talking in our respective countries and ensure optimal business information flow amongst ourselves. TPSF should start engaging meaningfully with KEPSA. Agriculture Council of Tanzania should actually continue engaging meaningfully with the Agriculture Council of Kenya here. And the list can go on and on. And so this is the most viable way of ensuring that we are smoothly transacting and the businesses that are establishing in our respective countries are really growing and become sustainable. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Tumpongeze tena kwa makofi mazuri dada Jacqueline Mkindi ambaye ni mwenyekiti kitengo cha kilimo. Na asante sana. Ningependa kutaja machache ili tuweze kuingia katika ratiba rasmi. I want to request all the media fraternity, the guys with cameras, kindly to constrain or to confine yourself to the media raiser. Wale wote ambao tunafanya jukumu la kunakili, iwe ni katika kamera zetu, iwe ni katika video, tumepewa nafasi ya kufanya kazi pale nyuma na nitaomba sote tuwe hapo. Let us not have movements in between the guests. Tunaingia katika ratiba rasmi wakati wote kuanzia sasa, kwa maana mlezi wetu na mgeni wake tayari wamejiunga nasi. I beseech your indulgence that we minimize movements. We are almost moving to a formal program. Let us minimize movement. Let us minimize talking. I would also wish very humbly to request that we manage our phones. We are blessed with phones. And our phones has different ringtones. So as distinguished ladies and gentlemen, kindly let's manage our phones. It will be very bad when the president is making a remark and then we get many ringtones within ourselves. Let us manage our phones so that we can move to the formal program starting in a moment from now. Nitaomba sasa tuwe watulivu na watakapoingia viongozi wetu, mgeni wetu na mlezi wake, tutashauriwa kusimama sote. Ni kanuni na desturi mila zetu kuwakaribisha viongozi kwa makofi ili wajihisi kwamba tumewakaribisha. Tutakuwa na nafasi ya kuwa na nyimbo 3, wimbo wa Jumuiya ya Muungano wa Tanzania, wimbo wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na wimbo wa Muungano wa Afrika Mashariki. Kisha tutaingia katika ratiba ya mazungumzo mafupi, na kama nilivyoomba awali, wale ambao watapata fursa ya kuzungumza tuzungumze kwa uchache lakini direct to the point so that we can address the issues that have taken a long time for us to address them. Kisha baadaye viongozi wetu watazungumza nasi, and then we shall have a communique that will be tabled in order for us to have a way forward. Mnenaji mmoja alizungumza akasema isiwe kuja tu na kuketi, tungependa kuwa na way forward. Na furaha yangu ni kwamba baada ya viongozi wetu kuzungumza, tutakuwa na mmoja ambaye atazungumza kwa niaba yetu sote as a joint communique. Kwa hivyo kwa sasa tuwe watulivu, nitakuwa nikiwashauri wakati ambapo utafika. Asanteni. Ikiwa umejiunga nasi hivi sasa, wale ambao wanatazama kule kupitia mitandao mbalimbali, ni siku ya kipekee tunapoendelea na jukwaa la biashara kati ya Jamhuri ya Kenya na nchi ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Ikiwa mada yetu siku ya leo ni kuboresha biashara, utalii na uwekezaji katika Jamhuri ya Kenya na Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania katika Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, ikiwa ni katika mfumo wa umoja wa forodha. Mazungumzo yalianza hapo awali na tunaendelea kuangalia vikwazo na hata kutafuta suluhu. Endelea kujiunga nasi.
Na mtazamaji wa TBC1, kama ndio unaungana nasi, unafuatilia matangazo ya moja kwa moja kutoka Nairobi nchini Kenya, ikiwa ni siku ya pili ya ziara ya Rais Samia Suluhu Hassan nchini Kenya, na ulikuwa unashuhudia kongamano la wafanyabiashara kati ya Tanzania pamoja na Kenya, ambao walikuwa wanajadiliana masuala mbalimbali ya jinsi ya kuendelea kuimarisha biashara iliyopo kati ya Tanzania pamoja na Kenya. Hivi sasa tukio ambalo linasubiriwa katika kongamano hilo ni marais wote wawili kuwasili, ambapo Rais Uhuru Kenyatta mwenyeji pamoja na Rais Samia Suluhu Hassan nao watahutubia katika kongamano hilo. Kwa hiyo wafanyabiashara wako tayari hapo kwa ajili ya kuwasikiliza wakuu hao wa nchi, ikiwa ni dira pamoja na kuanza safari mpya ya kuimarisha uhusiano wa kibiashara pamoja na uhusiano wa kiuwekezaji kati ya Tanzania na Kenya. Na miongoni mwa watu ambao wametoa mawasilisho presentation, mawasilisho ya mambo mbalimbali katika kongamano hilo ni pamoja na mkurugenzi mkuu wa kituo cha uwekezaji nchini TIC Dr. Maduhu Kazi, ambapo miongoni mwa masuala ambayo amesisitiza kwa wafanyabiashara kutoka Kenya, uwekezaji kutoka Kenya, ni kuja kuwekeza hapa Tanzania, hasa katika sekta ya viwanda. Viwanda ikiwemo Tanzania tunalipa pamba, wanaweza kuja kuwekeza kwenye viwanda vya nguo, lakini pia kwa takwimu kwamba Tanzania hapa Tanzania Watanzania walioenda kuwekeza Kenya nao ni wachache, kwamba ni 30 pekee ukilinganisha na miradi 513 ya Kenya ambayo imewekezwa hapa nchini. Nao wamesema kwamba bado kuna nafasi nyingine ya kuendelea kuwekeza na Watanzania nao waende kuwekeza Kenya. Tukikumbuka hotuba ya Rais Samia Suluhu Hassan hapo jana jana amesisitiza kwamba kutokana na kwamba Watanzania nao miradi yao walionao ni michache kwa upande wa Kenya, sasa atakuwa ametumia kabisa neno tawaswaga sasa ili nao waende Kenya kwenda kuwekeza. Lengo kubwa katika uwekezaji huu, mtazamaji wa TBC1, licha ya kukuza uchumi, lakini unasaidia sana katika swala zima la ajira, hasa tukizungumzia swala la uwekezaji kwenye viwanda. Ndio maana tunaona kwamba swala hili limekuwa kubwa sana kuhakikisha kwamba sasa Tanzania na Kenya biashara na vikwazo mbalimbali ambavyo vilikuwa mipakani na ambavyo vilikuwa sio vya kikodi vimeondolewa, na sasa biashara itaenda kuimarika zaidi. Na miongoni mwa mawasilisho mengine ambayo yamewasilishwa katika kongamano hili ni kuendelea kudumisha sasa ile tunasema public private partnership, PPP. Tunapozungumzia private public partnership, uhusiano uliopo kati ya uwekezaji, kushirikiana kati ya uwekezaji wa serikali pamoja na private sector. Lakini pia jambo lingine ambao wafanyabiashara hapo wamesisitiziana ni swala zima la wao wenyewe kama sekta binafsi kuwasiliana kati ya Kenya pamoja na Tanzania, kwamba kwa Tanzania tuna TPSF, sekta binafsi Tanzania, lakini kwa Kenya wana KEPSA, Kenya Private Sector Alliation. Wao wanazungumza mara kwa mara na kuweka mambo yao bayana mara kwa mara. Na miongoni mwa wafanyabiashara wa Tanzania wakubwa ambao wapo kwenye kongamano hilo, mtazamaji wa TBC1, ni mfanyabiashara Rais Samia, ambaye naye pia amezungumza hapo awali katika kongamano hilo. Labda ulichelewa kujiunga na sisi kidogo, na amezungumza swala zima la kufanya biashara kubwa pia na ambazo zitazalisha ajira nyingi zaidi, tunavyozungumza kwa wananchi wa Kenya pamoja na wananchi wa Tanzania. Na miongoni mwa jambo muhimu ambalo pia kwenye wasilisho moja hapo limezungumziwa ni swala zima la partnership kwa wao wenyewe wawekezaji wa sekta binafsi, kwamba mtu anakuwa na kiwanda Kenya lakini anaweza akawa na kiwanda kingine hapa Tanzania na akawa na hisa kati ya Wakenya na Watanzania katika swala zima la kuwekeza kwenye miradi mbalimbali. Na tunavyozungumzia mfanyabiashara kama Rais Samia ambaye ni mfanyabiashara mkubwa kwa hapa Tanzania, lakini ana miradi mbalimbali pia huko nchini Kenya na ukanda mwingine huu wa Afrika Mashariki. Lakini kuna fursa nyingine imezungumziwa hapa. Tanzania tupo mbioni kutekeleza mradi wa hizi gesi za majumbani LNG. Hii pia ni fursa mojawapo kwamba soko kubwa ambalo pia tutalipata ni katika ukanda huu wa Afrika Mashariki. Miongoni mwa soko hilo pia linapatikana nchini Kenya. Hayo ni mambo yote ambayo yamezungumzwa, mtazamaji wa TBC1, katika kongamano hili ambao wafanyabiashara wenyewe sasa walikuwa wanajadiliana.
Naomba mabibi na mabwana tusimame kwa heshima tumkaribishe Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, na Mheshimiwa Samia Suluhu Hassan, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Tuwakaribishe kwa makofi mabibi na mabwana, wageni wetu karibuni. Tuendelee kuwapongeza hadi wapande kwenye jukwaa. Asante. Nitaomba sote tuwe wima sasa kwa wimbo wa taifa wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, wimbo wa taifa wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na wimbo wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Wimbo wa taifa. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa ruhusa yako naomba tuketi. Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa Majeshi ya Ulinzi, Mheshimiwa Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, waheshimiwa wajumbe viongozi kutoka nchi ya Kenya, waheshimiwa wajumbe viongozi kutoka nchi ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, mabibi na mabwana. Karibuni katika jukwaa la biashara kati ya Jamhuri ya Kenya na nchi ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Mada ikiwa ni kuboresha biashara, utalii na uwekezaji katika Jamhuri ya Kenya na Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania katika Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, tukizingatia mfumo wa umoja wa forodha ikiwa njia moja ya kutanua wigo. Naomba sasa Mheshimiwa Rais unikubalie nimwalike katibu wa kudumu katika Wizara ya Biashara nchini Kenya atuongoze kwa kipindi kifuatacho. Katibu Balozi Wero, tafadhali tuvalie njuga.
Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa Majeshi ya Ulinzi ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa Samia Suluhu Hassan, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, ujumbe kutoka Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania na ujumbe wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, mabibi na mabwana, kwa ruhusa yako Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba niwaalike watu wachache, actually watu 4 tu, watazungumza kama dakika 7 ama 8 hivi. Wa kwanza ni Paul Makanza, Vice Chair wa Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, atakayetoa taarifa fupi ya yale tuliyozungumzia hapa kama wanabiashara na watu wa serikali. Naomba nimwalike ndugu Paul Makanza. Uko na dakika 2 ndugu yangu. Ama kwa hapo tumwalike Angelina. Karibu Angelina.
Your Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Ministers from both countries present here today, Honorable High Commissioners, government officials, Mr. Nick Nesbitt, Chairperson of Kenya Private Sector Alliance, business delegation from both countries, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I bring greetings from the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation and on behalf of the entire private sector to the people of Kenya. Our special thanks to the Kenya Private Sector Alliance for organizing this historical business forum. Your Excellencies, I must admit we have had similar business forum before, but this one will be memorable as we have a high-powered delegation from both countries. It is a clear indication of huge appetite for business and investment in our two countries. But most importantly, is because of your presence and your support to the private sector development. Your Excellencies, your presence here today is a strong indication of the close historical ties between our two nations. Our powerful message as a private sector in Kenya and Tanzania is to widen and deepen investment trade relations for the mutual benefits of our two countries. Your Excellencies, today's Business Forum is a very important and a timely opportunity for Tanzania and Kenya business community to meet, discuss, exchange experiences with a view to highlight success, challenges, and most important, proposed solution for sustainable private sector development for our two countries that form part of Greater EAC. Your Excellencies, I wish to identify some of the key areas that require our utmost attention, if addressed, will unlock investment and trade opportunities between our two countries. Kindly allow me to mention a few. Number one is the value of collaboration. There should be a strong collaboration between Kenya and Tanzania business community to accelerate our economic recovery given the current COVID-19 pandemic. All of us has taken lessons, especially in having collaborative and harmonized approaches. This business forum is an opportunity to engage on various key areas, be it tourism, agriculture, digital economy, infrastructure, investments, projects that can create jobs, and rules of PPP. In recovery of various economy, we need to position our two countries to attract investments, working together as collective, first and foremost, is very critical. Number two, upholding trust and mutual respect. These are crucial elements in our bilateral investments and trade engagements. We should enhance trust and mutual respect between our economic actors. Number three, investment in value addition. Our countries are endowed with natural resource and comparative advantage, which must be properly harnessed so they contribute significantly to our economies. We must challenge the conventional thinking and innovatively use our resources to drive positive change. We must together exploit such potential for the benefit of our countries by investing in value addition and processing industries. Number four, increase bilateral trade between our two countries. Despite the fact that there is significant trade between Kenya and Tanzania, great potential still exists, given the opportunities available. However, this has been undermined by persistence of recurring NTBs and technical barriers and SPS, sanitary and phytosanitary measures that limit the capacity of manufacturers to enter regional markets for their products. In conclusion, I wish to thank you, Your Excellencies, once again for honoring us with the presence today. I also extend my sincere thanks to all members of the business community present here. Thank you all for your time and participation. We look forward to affirmative actions that will address the existing investment and trade issue that has been highlighted above for the mutual benefit of our nation and our people. God bless Kenya, God bless Tanzania, God bless Africa. Thank you for your attention.
Kwa ruhusa yako, Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba sasa nimwalike Madam Caroline Kariuki Karuga asame mafupi. Tafadhali, you have the floor.
Your Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, High Excellency, President Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of Tanzania, all protocols have been observed. You forgive me for my bad Swahili, so I will stick to English for today, but in our next meeting, I'll have polished a bit of my Swahili. Let me just introduce Kenya Private Sector Alliance to you, High Excellency, who we are very, very proud to have you today, and we are looking forward to a really good engagement. The Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, is the apex body of the private sector in Kenya that brings together the local and foreign business associations, chamber of commerces, corporates, as multinational companies, large corporates, SMEs, and startups from all sectors of the economy under one umbrella to enable them speak in one voice when engaging government and other stakeholders on cross-cutting policy issues affecting private sector development. KEPSA supports business with training, opportunities to network, financial linkages, mentorships and coaching, access to markets, value chains, and access to investment opportunities. We are basically the federation of associations, and many of them are represented here, and they cover all the sectors and in all parts of the country. And so I'll be speaking on the behalf of the private sector in Kenya today. And since my colleague from the TPSF, which is the KEPSA of Tanzania, has highlighted some of the areas that we want to look at, I'll be basically looking at some of the areas that we want to discuss in terms of just the specifics. But before I do that, one of the things that we've realized, Kenya and Tanzania are basically at the same level with GDP and in terms of FDI, when you look at the numbers, so that we realize we are really, really brothers and sisters of the same father, maybe different mothers. Tanzania has been growing, has been a growth hub in the past decade, recording an average of GDP growth of 6.3 annually between 2010 and 2019, and doubling the size of its economy from $32 billion and to $63.2 billion. Kenya's growth in the same period averaged about 5.8%. Basically, we are the same, increasing its GDP from $40 billion to $95.5 billion. In terms of foreign FDI, our two countries have continued to attract significant investments in the region. In 2018, Kenya attracted $1.6 billion in FDI inflows and $1.3 billion in 2019, majorly on two ICT and health sectors, while Tanzania in the same period attracted $1.06 billion and $1.1 billion respectively in 2018 and 2019. Kenya is a key partner and the largest source of African foreign direct investment into Tanzania. And I will not go into the numbers in the interest of time. We note with appreciation the continued implementation of policy reforms towards improving the business environment and facilitate investments in both our countries. Tanzania has attracted immense investments in its mining and energy industries. Kenya, by the same token, has been celebrated as a scion in ease of doing business reforms that have been spearheaded by you, Your Excellency, in your usual roundtables with KEPSA that helped the ease of doing business move from 136 in 2015 to 56 currently, and we're looking to work on the competitiveness index this year. By working together, our two countries stand a better chance of accelerating our economic recovery from COVID-19, attracting investments in joint areas of comparative advantage, and position us to benefit immensely from the emerging opportunities of the African Continental Free Trade Area. KEPSA has established strong partnerships and trade relationships in Tanzania by signing an MOU with TPSF, which is our counterpart, in April 2018. We jointly Made in Tanzania Expo with TPSF in KICC and facilitated successful B2B matchmaking opportunities. By working together on areas of joint comparative advantages of both countries, our business communities can exploit several opportunities with government support. This includes tourism and marketing both countries as one destination, our common tea and coffee, music, doing collabos, for all of us who know what that is, twinning up with music, value chains of our products, e.g. coconut farming, horticulture, and building large industries because of our combined raw materials and labor, and we can create jobs in both countries. Creative industry has witnessed remarkable growth in both countries, fueled by the commonality of the Swahili language. The meteoric rise of bongo music flavor, especially among the urban youth in Kenya and Tanzania, is testament of social cohesion brought about by bongo music, which technically originated from Tanzania. Key Tanzanian artists such as Ali Kiba and Asib Abdul Juma Isaac, popularly known by his stage name Diamond Platinum, have particularly reaped it big in the creative industry because of overwhelming support from Kenyans through concerts and events promotion. Not to forget our own Sauti Sol, who have equally amassed a religious following in Tanzania, thanks to the shared culture, value system, and language between the two partner states. And this can be really a big income earner and jobs for the two countries. To address the trade barriers and enhance investment growth opportunities in both our countries, KEPSA convened a consultative meeting in January 2021 between the two high commissioners, who we are very, very grateful to both of them, Honorable Dan Kazungu from Kenya and his Tanzanian counterpart, Dr. John Stephan Zimbachawane, who will discuss possible solutions to trade barriers between both countries. Your Excellencies, the following are some of the major issues of major concern raised during the joint meeting with our two ambassadors, which we have begun, which again we have discussed this morning between the two business communities, and we'll just share with you a little bit of our conclusions. And what my counterpart said, prevalence of NTBs, which consequently affects the regional integration agenda and trade partnership between our two partner states, such as discriminative duties and fees, as well as non-recognition of rules of origin and testing certificates, which affect small traders at the borders. Double taxation, which creates a costly business environment for investors. The East Africa Double Taxation Treaty, if ratified by all EAC partner states, will remove double taxation for investors whose companies operate in the two or more member countries. Lack of mutual dispute settlement mechanisms, which makes it hard for investors to have confidence that barriers to regional markets will not be reinstated overnight. Disharmony of taxes, particularly excise duty, IDF, income tax, and VAT in the EAC partner states, resulting into less trade volume returns. Non-recognition of standards and professional qualifications, which is a major hindrance to movement of goods, as well as professional services between the two countries. And finally, non-implementation of the open sky policy, which denies us the opportunity to travel cheaply by air, thereby limiting the great potential of tourism that exists both countries. So these are just a bit of the highlights, but what we'll ask, Your Excellencies, is that our ministers could meet and with ourselves and really resolve the details of these issues, maybe in the next couple of weeks, so that we don't really go into all the details of every specific thing that we have mentioned. So I wish to really thank you, Your Excellencies, being our face for this partnership that KEPSA and TPSF have been developing over the years, both on investments and challenges experienced. And in the absence of our EABC CEO, who is now the Secretary General of EAC, and we're very, very grateful, I'd like to invite the EABC Chair, who will wrap up for the private sector before we move to the ministers. Thank you.
Caroline Kaloga. Sasa naomba nimwalike Bwana Nesbit azungumze kwa niaba ya East African Business Council. Asante sana, Rais.
Asante Bwana Weru. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Your Excellency, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Madam Samia Suluhu Hassan, Cabinet Ministers, distinguished guests, my sister, Ms. Angela Ngulula from Chair TPSF, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you warm greetings from my board of the East African Business Council, the umbrella of the private sector bodies in East Africa, and I'm honored to speak to you today, and I'm very grateful for all your work to promote trade and regional integration in East Africa. As stipulated under Article 7 of the East African Community Treaty, our integration is people-oriented, market-driven, and private sector-led, thus ensuring the sustainability of our regional economies. And this business forum provides us an opportunity to strengthen the partnership between private sector and your governments while furthering regional integration. And with that in mind, Your Excellencies, this morning I'd like to give you our view on what it's going to take to really create giants from East Africa. Despite being the fastest integrating region on the continent, our inter-East Africa trade is under 20%. It is far less than what it really should be. It is not at the levels of SADC, which is at 47%, the EU at 68%. We must push our intra-EAC trade above 50%. But we won't get there unless we get busy, unless we get to work, Your Excellencies, unless we address these non-tariff barriers. I've been around the East African community, and I've seen for the last 10 years many of the same NTBs that keep popping up. We're addicted to NTBs, it seems. But we're pleased to see that resolving the NTBs is a big part of the agenda in this state visit. So to do this, we need the following. We need a strong East African Community Secretariat. We have a new captain, we have a new Secretary General, Honorable Peter Mathuki, and we thank you, Your Excellencies, for appointing a very knowledgeable private sector individual to lead this role. And he is already very busy unifying his team and focusing on the regional agenda. We have many disputes. We must institute this Trade Resolution Committee that we've talked about for so long. We must encourage diversification. We talked about this earlier, Your Excellencies. Diversification of our value-add sectors and encourage manufacturing rather than importation. We must differentiate ourselves through manufacturing and adding value rather than just simply selling what others elsewhere have made. That does not enhance our competitiveness. We must build regional supply chains that mean you can manufacture one part of a finished good in Tanzania, another part in Kenya, and finally assemble it in Rwanda. We must make sure that these regional supply chains, whether they are car assembly or assembling these big Land Cruiser cars or agro-processing, lead the charge to help grow this region. And we must vastly increase our ability to move goods within and across the region by going digital. We've seen the global success of companies like Amazon, Uber, Alibaba, and they have created enormous wealth simply in distribution, simply in making things easier, simply in making things possible that you can move your products from buyer to seller, from the point of supply to the point of use. And to do this, Your Excellencies, we must continue to connect our physical infrastructure and make it easier for our trucks, ships, and aircrafts to move. We must encourage digitization, making it easier and cheaper to communicate digitally across borders while protecting the integrity of the data. We must also make it easier and much cheaper to fly ourselves and our goods within the region and across our borders. And additionally, we must make the identities of our people, our assets, our businesses more transparent, searchable, and visible across East Africa. In short, we must create more trust in the region. We want our tax regimes harmonized and mutually respected, and we want our respective standard bodies to be recognized so that our manufacturers are not subjected to abnormal tariff barriers. And we want it easier for our very hard-working professionals to work across borders and have their credentials respected. And as we see the lovely pictures presented by our friends from Tanzania, we want to ensure our local and international tourists can easily enjoy the marvels of this corner of the world, the creation of mankind. And with the AFCFTA coming, Your Excellencies, if we can do all of these things and more, we'll finally make it easier to create East African giants that can roll across the continent, hiring people, buying raw materials and selling differentiated products en masse, building MSMEs and SMEs everywhere. That is what we want. And what we want in this environment is one that encourages exports, that encourages investments, that encourages the diaspora to come home and invest. We wanted to allow this environment to transform, to allow our business people to transform, to allow their brains and their ideas and their hard work ethic to build companies that last for generations. We want the right environment to transform our nations, but this isn't only about what the private sector wants alone, Your Excellency. We believe it's what our governments want as well, and we certainly believe it is what our people want. It is about calling for much closer engagement between private sector and governments, with neither party selfishly claiming a monopoly on ideas or plans for how to get there. We must get there together. And if we walk together, we will go far. We welcome the frequent calls, in closing, Your Excellency, for private sector to begin to lead from the front. And I want to tell you, we are ready. We're ready to travel with the new Secretary General to meet all of the presidents and share our vision, and we want to work together to promote this region's operating environment and make it stronger and more transparent. We're ready to get going now. Time is not on our side. We are ready. And with those few remarks, Your Excellency, I wish you all the very best in today's deliberations and in implementing over the coming months what has been agreed upon in the discussions in Nairobi this week. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana. Nick Nesbitt amezungumza kwa niaba ya East African Business Council. Kwa ruhusa yako Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba sasa nimwalike Richard Ngatia, the President of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. If you're in the house, Richard, you have exactly 2 minutes. You have the floor. Asante.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Tanzania, Suluhu Hassan, distinguished guests, and all protocol observed, I wish to bring greetings from the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry fraternity and all the private sector in 47 counties and the MSMEs as well. The private sector attaches great importance to this event, as there is a great potential to intensify a broadened economic relations given the opportunities that exist in both countries. This event not only fosters bilateral relationship, but also provides a common front to address the economic transformation of both our countries. As the Chamber, we are committed to support the economic agenda. We have an existing cordial working relationship with the Tanzanian Chamber of Commerce, fostering bilateral development and cooperation in trade, investment, and business services. And together, we can join projects so that we can support SMEs' acceleration in tourism, technology, blue economy, and etc. Moving forward, and to cement this collaboration, we propose the establishment of a joint business council that will promote Kenya and Tanzania bilateral business relations. We call for support from both governments. The Joint Business Council will act towards promoting investments, promotion by organizing B2B, networking, and also policy forums and investment-focused events. This will be able to mitigate the issues around agriculture and aflatoxin food standards as well. In addition, we will encourage the construction of economic projects in both countries by identifying the most favorable financing channels and providing information to business persons interested in such projects. And I'm happy today we have most of our banks represented here today, and those also present in Tanzania. And I believe our government will be able to support us in providing them with stimulus package so that they can support SMEs in providing them with financial inclusion. We will continue to assist in the settlement of commercial disputes between business persons from the two countries through amicable means and through the Chamber of Commerce. Our commitment to this partnership and the private investors from Tanzania, we encourage you to visit Kenya and invest through public-private partnership initiatives that the government of Kenya offers, and you've had numerous incentives that are offered by the government. I assure our Tanzanian counterparts that Kenya is open to business and will continue to be an open economy with a business-friendly environment. To cement this relationship further, Kenya and Tanzania chambers have organized a trade and investment expo scheduled on August 30th to 5th September 2021 in Dar es Salaam, and this is giving opportunity to our SMEs to unlock their potential and tell their story in the most humanly way. Our assurance is that Kenya remains a resilient nation. We have a well-diversified economy that is supported by a conducive investment climate, broader economic reforms, technology, development, and improvements in infrastructure, and an exciting domestic consumer market with highly qualified and cost-effective workforce that has huge potential for economic growth for both countries. And it is time for us to support the youth, women groups to be in this location. There's an African quote that says, and I want to quote, "The cost of liberty is less than the price of repression." We today, on behalf of our two nations, can strengthen our cooperation as neighbors in that Pan-Africanism spirit which Kwame Nkrumah, a founding member of the Organization of African Unity, said, and I quote, "The forces that unite us are intrinsic and greater than the superimposed influences that keep us apart." In his address, Africa must unite. That was in 1963. In conclusion, Your Excellencies, we request both governments to provide support and nature partnerships to achieve our goals. We welcome you, and we are here to walk the journey together so that we can bring hope to SMEs, that they can be able to penetrate the emerging markets. And together, Kenya and Tanzania are also members of the ICGLR. That is a 400 market in the Great Lakes region. Your Excellencies, we seek your support so that we be able to penetrate these markets through Tanzania corridor. And I believe if we together as the chambers, we can open an office, have a reciprocal, have an office here in Kenya, and we do have an office in Dodoma or Dar es Salaam, we shall be able to achieve